we're starting off today's video in the loader truck and the flatbed's empty. This only means one thing usually. Another car, right?
Yes.
Another car. I'm excited to show this one to you. Its purpose and everything is gonna make so much sense in a little bit. But cocaine is one hell of an addiction, and yes. Corn! E85, ethanol. Oh my gosh. Gas, gas, gas. Do you know these songs?
No.
Initial D?
No.
Eurobeat. Eurobeat.
Eurobeat.
Yeah.
I see.
That's Daikie's new theme song, okay guys? Every time you see Daikie, just think we've arrived. Oh, we have to back in. There it is. Oh my gosh. We have arrived at Maku. So we got ourselves a stage here, guys, and this thing has a very important purpose. The main reason for this car is parts. And I'm sure all of you guys already know where this is going. And I'm sure you've already seen the intercooler on the front, but this has a Neo RB25 in here. It is an all-wheel drive variant one, but we need one of these engines for the 33.4 Skyline. And the owner of Maku, Takanori-san, Skyline Papa, helped us out with this. So massive thank you, sir. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Yeah, kochira koso.
He also knows that I got some other RB plans. So he hooked me up with a RB25 Neo head. So we're gonna be using this for a very special build. And then this is a RB26 or RB25 all-wheel drive oil pan that's been modified with the all-wheel drive shaft and stuff removed. So this is very, very important. So he's really looking after us, and he's also got another block for us that we're gonna be using that's gonna go with this head and stuff, which is stuff that you'll learn about in the future very, very soon, which is also for the 33.4 Skyline. We're winching the car up, but man, this interior is beautiful for a manual all-wheel drive Stagia. It's a real shame that it became a parts car. The engine's all good though, and that's the main thing, and it has crazy low mileage, and that's the good news. I'm always in two minds when it comes to parts cars. One part of me is thinking, someone loved this car at one point. Someone bought it, someone modified it, someone really enjoyed it. And now it's gonna die. But then I think that doesn't really matter because the parts from this car are gonna make another car live, or more than one. What do you guys think? If you guys remember from when we visited Maku and we did a shop tour video, Takanori-san actually was the first person who made the 33.4 a thing. And what was really crazy was that the number plate that I got on my car by complete chance was the same number plate digits and stuff as the very first R33.4 Skyline in existence. And it was crazy cool, and it was just one of those moments where we really bonded. And we started putting a plan into motion to bring back the 33.4. My goal with this car now is a two-stage build. The first build, we're putting an RB25 Neo in it. We're gonna keep stock rods, stock pistons. This engine from this Stagia, I think has crazy low kilometers. There's nothing wrong with the car. It's just, he bought that it's sat in someone's yard for a very long time, purely for the drivetrain to turn a four-door, non-turbo 34 Skyline into essentially a four-door GTR. So he just wants the the transmission and everything back. All I need is the engine because he's building an RB26 for that four-door. So it kind of worked out really, really well. So we're pulling everything out, dismantling it and everything. We worked out a really good deal, and he's looking after us to make sure we bring back the 33.4 to all its glory. So we're going for a 25 Neo. Now, at the same time, you saw that we got some more engine parts in the back of the car, and we're gonna be building a very special engine, something that I've always talked about, that I've always wanted to do, and something I've always dreamed of building when it comes to RB engines. They just have such a unique sound. That's gonna be getting built on the side. It's gonna take some time with all the machining work and all that kind of stuff to get done. So the main plan is to put a 25 Neo in there, get this thing set up as like the best that you can probably probably can with a stock RB25 Neo. We're gonna obviously be doing head studs and gasket, all the kind of bolt-ons that you would do to make a 500 horsepower, super reliable RB like street car. It should be insanely responsive. It should have a ton of torque, and it's just going to rip. And it's gonna get me excited for Skyline and RB things all over again, and I'm sure it's gonna make you guys excited too. Anyways, we're gonna get back to the shop, and we gotta start working on the new Stasia. So we've got the Stasia inside the shop. Now, I want to hear this thing running, preferably, even if it's on parts cleaner or like, you know, starter fluid, before we drop the motor. I think it's just a good idea, that way we know like there's no knocks or anything like this, but this thing has sat for a very long time. I'm sure you can tell by all the dust in the engine bay that this thing has not been running in forever. So first thing I want to do is put a battery in here. We're gonna check fluids and stuff. The radiator is completely dry. Winters in Japan are rough, so if you have water in your car through the winter, it will freeze, crack the blocks, spit out, you know, Welsh plugs and all that kind of stuff. So you gotta be really, really careful. Engine oil, I don't even know if this thing has oil. It should. Sat just for a very long time. It does, it has oil, but there's gonna be no oil in the head. So before I crank this thing, even before I crank it without, you know, starting it properly, I'm gonna pour some oil in the head so there's just something fresh in there. Then we're gonna disconnect the cam angle sensor. I'm gonna crank this thing, if it will even crank, let some oil pressure build up, and then we'll start it. I don't even know if this has fuel in it. If it doesn't have fuel in it, we'll use some parts cleaner or brake fluid or something like that, or starting fluid to get it going. First things first though, we need a battery. We got this guy here, which actually used to be the old battery from the 350Z. It'll be exactly what we need, I think, to just see if this thing's gonna work. Ooh. Ooh. You hear the car come alive? I heard the fuel pump. Do we have fuel? We might have dash now. We have dash lights. This thing's done only 120,000 kilometers, so it's got super low mileage, which is awesome. It says there's no fuel. No fuel at all.
No fuel?
No fuel. It says E, no fuel cover. I don't think it has any fuel. But I've got a bunch of this cheap engine oil over here that we bought when we were in Okinawa working on the abandoned S15 to get it running. And this is just like cheap flushing oil. So this is what we use to just whatever. I think they bought it on base. So we're just gonna pour like a quart of this in. A quart? I don't even know what I'm saying. What's a quart? 946 milliliters, so just shy of 1 liter. We're gonna pour some of this in there. It's just some cheap engine oil. And that way the head's a little, you know, we're wetting its whistle a little bit, you know? I'm gonna unplug the cam angle sensor. It's crusty, man. Oh, we got it. There we go. We're gonna crank this and just see if we can get some oil pressure to come up on the dash. Yo, it cranks so easy. The oil pressure light just disappeared off the dash, which means it has oil pressure. I don't think the gas in this is going to be good, but we'll see. If there's any gas left in the tank, if it made it to the front, I don't know. But if there's anything in the system and it's good enough to burn, it should start right now. I'll be very surprised if it does. I don't think it's got enough gas. Bunch of parts cleaner. See if we can get this thing to just crank over at all. I'm pretty certain there's no fuel in the tank. Oh!
What?
It wants it.
Whoa!
It's running!
Oi!
There you go. It was running. It sounds healthy. Sounds good. She sounds good to me. No knocks or anything. We're gonna put a little bit of fuel in the tank and just see if we can get it to run a bit on that, and just let it idle for a little bit. But I don't want to run it too long because we have no water in this, so I'll probably maybe just throw a bit of water in and see what happens. Oh, it did have some coolant. It was just really low. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's put some fuel in it. Just a little bit of gas.
It sounds like lower.
Sounds full.
Yeah.
It sounds full, right? We're a little worried. It sounds like it's full, which worries me, man. It sounds like it's full, so it could just be like full of water or something. Just gonna put that cap on, and we're gonna both forget that we heard that. Because the fuel gauge says it's empty. But if it's so rusted in there that maybe the fuel sending unit is broken, so I don't know. I don't hear a fuel pump at all. Yeah, I hear no fuel pump. Yeah? Kind of running though. Yeah, I think the tank's probably just full of gunk. And I don't hear a single fuel pump. So the fuel pump's probably corroded and everything. I don't want to look in there, that's scary. All right, well, we had it running on parts cleaner, and I think that's all that matters. The thing sounded really healthy. Looking inside here, everything looks very well lubricated. It looks like some oil definitely sat for a while, but it feels good. There's a lot in there, so we're good. It's just dirty oil from sitting for a long time. So this motor will be perfect. We'll be able to clean her all up. And she's gonna end up living in this thing, which I'm really excited about. This was actually really hard for me to see the other day, but someone pointed out to it in the comments. But number 3 here actually has a little bit of sideware, like scoring going down and down, vertical scoring on this piston. So this one could actually have a broken ringland or something going on there. So I just decided that we're gonna put forged rods and pistons in this. And this engine's gonna end up going in most likely the 4-door Skyline that we're gonna be restoring, the abandoned one, or it'll be a backup engine that'll go into the Bogan 32 if we pop the 20E. But for now, we've got to go to the home center because we've got to get a couple of those like trolley things that we can drop everything on. When it comes to all-wheel drive RV stuff and GTRs and whatnot, it's always easier to just drop the whole front member with the engine and the transmission straight down rather than it is to pull everything up through the hood. So that's what we're going to do. We can go to the home center, get some stuff, and then we'll come back to this and just pull everything off. We're back at the shop and we got ourselves a big old cart. Look at this thing. Should be able to handle 500 kilograms, no problem. I even got like a little mat and stuff that I cut to shape to go on here because I don't want anything like sliding around on the steel kind of base. So we should be good. This should be everything we need to kind of just drop the engine and transmission on this for then us to start disassembling it all together. We can also remove this entirely, the handles or whatever you want to call it, so that it's just like a rolling cart. But this thing's dirty. We're gonna get this thing up on the lift. We're gonna start time-lapsing this and get this motor dropped. Slowly. Okay. Zutto. Hai. Zutto. Take tempo. Nice. We done. Okay. And then we just kind of wheel this bad boy out of here. Hey! Okay, stop. Okay, try now.
Yeah.
Pull. Okay. Woo! We got the beast out. Nice. Okay, drink. Yeah. We got it. We got it. We got the engine out. Pretty smooth. All flying colors. Things, I definitely learned a few things. This isn't the first time I've ever dropped like a GTR kind of full engine drivetrain package out of a car. And obviously everything on the Stagia is identical, I believe, to like the 33 GTR. I think maybe even the 32, I'm not sure though, but yeah, all of this was interesting. We didn't have to take the axle out on this side, which was nice. But yeah, just like the whole subframe stuff is so interesting. Like I've never pulled an all-wheel drive RB out of a car, so it just first time for everything. And everything looks good. Like this car, honestly, it's kind of sad that it's not going to be used as a Stagia anymore. It's just going to be continuing as a parts car. But it definitely has some good parts in there, obviously, like GTR diff and all that kind of stuff. It's the same drivetrain, literally, as a 33 GTR. So the fact that Takanori-san is just going to take all that out and he's going to end up putting that into a 4-door 34 Skyline and making it a GTR with an RB26 or an RB28 or something is just awesome. Yeah, it's kind of cool. This Stagia does have a little bit of surface rust. It's not bad. It's actually probably one of the cleaner Stagia bodies I've ever seen, to be honest. It's quite nice. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this shell. I don't know. Maybe I can do something with it. I don't know. But all the drivetrain's coming out of it and I don't think I have a use for it, anything of it. So I might just send it off to be recycled. But I did just notice these side skirts are aftermarket, I think. OMIO, fiberglass. Huh, what is that? Interesting. Now, obviously, we still have a lot of work to get done on this engine. We are nowhere close to being done. I have to take the oil pan off, put the oil pan that has no diff back on there, so it's like ready for rear-wheel drive. I've got to take the engine mounts off. I've got to take the head off. We've got to do head gasket and studs. Just check over the general engine, clean it all up. I'm going to probably, because I'm going to have the oil pan off, I'm going to check the bearings, make sure they're all good. But I'm pretty confident they will be because it's a low mileage engine. But yeah, this thing definitely still has a lot to go. It's probably another day's worth of work, just kind of stripping everything down on this and getting this thing all sorted out so that we can put it into that. And then that needs a whole nother day's worth of work and a whole bunch of parts and stuff too to bring it up to spec for when I want to put that in. So it's probably going to be, I would say, about 1 to 2 weeks before this is in there and turnkey start ready, especially with like a bunch of stuff going on with FD and whatnot. It's going to be pretty intense, I think. But there you guys go. Got a Stagia. It's going to probably be the quickest that I ever own a Stagia. But yeah, I got to learn a lot off it, so I'm pretty happy. And we still obviously need to put the subframe back in so it's a roller and stuff. But yeah, I think it was well worth it. We got a Neo 6 engine out of it. And I know it is an all-wheel drive block, and some people think that that's more difficult to work with, and it's really not. If you got the all-wheel drive engine, you can just use the all-wheel drive oil pan, remove the front diff, super easy, and you just remove the axle and get someone to weld it up. The all-wheel drive oil pans are actually better. They hold more capacity, which is great, and you can get a lot of aftermarket baffles that bolt straight into them, like the Tomei one and stuff like that, which is right around the corner from me, so that's super handy. But yeah, I think all in all, it's gonna be a good engine, and it's gonna go in the 33.4, and where my goal is 500 horsepower out of a stock block, stock rods and pistons. And I know Neos can do that all day. So I'm hyped. Hope you guys are excited too. We got a long ways to go though before we can get this into the 33.4, but who would have thought I would have sacrificed the Stagia just so we could bring the old girl back. But bear in mind, guys, this was always going to be a parts car, and I think jumping at this opportunity was a no-brainer. And who knows, maybe I'll just kind of put this in storage and we'll get some parts off it in the long run for something else later on down the track. Because I would like to mess around with the Stagia. Maybe they're a good family car. I don't know, but this thing just definitely needs a lot of work to get back on the road, and I just wasn't, no, not happening. The shop is definitely getting very full. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. The 33.4 is just that little bit closer to running again. I'm really excited and I cannot wait to see what we do with this RB25 Neo to be able to make this thing an absolute ripper on the street. Let me know if you guys are as excited as me in the comment section. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace. I'm always in two minds when it comes to parts cars. One part of me is thinking, someone loved this car at one point. Someone bought it, someone modified it, someone really enjoyed it. And now it's gonna die. But then I think that that doesn't really matter because the parts from this car are gonna make another car live, or more than one. What do you guys think?